Now, we've all seen a fruit tree with its beautiful, vibrant flowers in the spring. Then they eventually fall off and you begin to see signs of fruit. But what would happen if those flowers didn't turn into fruit? Who's responsible in nature for making this happen? In apple orchards in southwest China, this is a problem for them. With the ever-growing population of China and the world around them, it is important for farmers to get high yield with the land they have to operate on. This is why the use of pesticides and fertilizers are at a growing increase. Now, in some cases, this can be very helpful in trying to eliminate harmful bugs, but in this case, the overuse of pesticides completely wiped out the bee population. Bees are the ones responsible for putting the fruit on the trees. China's overuse of pesticides wiped out the bee population, and with that, the most vital part of a fruit tree's production process, pollination. Bees have a special symbiotic relationship with not just the fruit trees, but thousands of other flowering plant species. What bee can do is so remarkable because almost no other insect can do what they do on their scale. Bees depend on plants like fruit trees to collect nectar to produce honey, which feeds their young and their whole hive. As a result, the bees are actually performing the most vital part to most plant survival. A bee collects nectar and picks up pollen from the anther, which is the male part of the flower. It will then fly to another flower and leave this pollen on the female part of the flower, which is called the stigma. After the pollen is moved, the flower is able to produce seeds and fruit around the seeds. This leads to the plant survival because without seeds, no more plants could grow. This is what makes a bee such a big part of a flowering plant survival. But what happens if there's no more bees? In China's case, they now have to rely on workers that hand pollinate every single flower on the plants or trees. This takes a worker significantly longer than a bee. One single bee can visit up to 5,000 flowers in a single day. But is it possible for crops to pollinate in other ways? Well, yes. Bees aren't the sole pollinators on Earth. They're joined by butterflies and a small number of species of flies, but bees are by far the most effective and contribute the most. Some crops, however, don't even need bugs to pollinate at all. These crops include wheat, corn, rice, barley, and oats. These crops, however, are not the most nutritious foods out there. That's why it's important to preserve the bee population. We know that bees are tremendous pollinators, but their day-to-day lifestyle is also very fascinating. Bees live in a home called a hive with hundreds or even thousands of other bees. However, there's one bee in charge, and that is the queen. The queen is the only bee in the hive that can lay fertile eggs. The hive is surrounded by their queen, and if she were to die, they would either raise up a new queen from one of her eggs or desert the whole colony. While she lives anywhere from 3 to 5 years, she will lay 2,000 eggs daily. All these eggs will have their own special jobs when they hatch. Many of the bees will become workers, which are the greater population of the hive. Other jobs include foragers, drones, cleaners, undertakers, and nurses, and builders. Each and every one of these jobs in the hive operate different by producing food, raising young, building combs, protecting the hive, and even removing dead bees. Bees also have their very unique way of communicating with the rest of the hive. When a bee finds food or lots of flowers somewhere, he will fly back to the hive and start to dance. The hive is often dark, so he will make a vibrating pattern, and he'll make a vibrating in a figure-8 pattern that's related to the sun's positioning and how far away the food is from the hive. It'll do this for a few minutes after he's gathered the other bees' attentions. Overall, bees have such a role on this earth and have symbiotic relations with not just us humans, but all the plants and animals. And it's safe to say that if there weren't here, many things would be different from the way we eat, and even different plants and animal species that we read in our children's books may be different. Bees aren't just bugs that we have to watch out for that they might sting us, but intelligent creatures that provide for everything on this earth.